Hey friends, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Sunday Q&A and converting a Mob7 1S ELRS to 2S for more power and more runtime. Why wouldn't you? I have a... What AIO is that? Oh, we're actually doing it with a HDLRC Spectre AIO, but it doesn't matter. It's all the same. The process is desolder the 1S battery lead, solder on BT 2.0, and then motor limit. I've got a set of motors that are 0802 19,000 kV. The motors that you get with the Mob7 1S ELRS are 20,000 kV. So you're going to motor limit a little bit down farther. And then we're going to fly it around. And you'll get to see how it flies. And the big thing is, what are 802s like on a 75mm analog 2S build? That's really what we're checking out here today. My current favorite motor for these 2S 75mm builds are 1002s. And I've tried 803s, I've tried 1102s. I don't really like the 803s. The 1102s are awesome, but they're a lot. I think the 1002 is really the sweet spot. Gotta test 802s though. You're gonna drop like a little over a gram going from a 1002 to an 802. I don't think, if I were doing this as a scratch build, I don't think I would get 802s. The little bit of extra weight for the 1002 is almost certainly worth it, especially if down the road you go to a heavier setup. You try to pick up a Runcam Thumb or even an Insta360 Go 2, or you put Walksnail on board or HD0 on board. You're going to want those 1002s for all of those things. What we're doing here is, if you're looking to do, like, if you have a Mob7 1S ELRS, or if you're looking to do like the simplest possible buy a bind and fly, and then get onto 2S75 analog. How do you do that? And that's basically what we're testing here. I've actually already got the BT 3.0 lead on there. I show you guys soldering all the time. If you have any specific solder questions, of course, let me know. 661 says, so are there any parts from a Mob 7 1S? Yes. The camera and the canopy. Because we're frame swapping this. We're moving it over to a V3 frame. Trying to do this in a Mob 7 1S ELRS frame, which is the Mob 7 V4 frame, is a pain in the ass. You've got to find grommets that are tall enough to raise the flight controller, the AIO, enough that the USB won't hit the battery. And then you've got to destroy your Mob 7 V4 frame by cutting the upper battery supports off. Just buy a Mob 7 V3 frame. You've got to buy the BT 3.0. Here. I'll hook you up. You can't do this swap without buying something. And so, Mob 7 V3 frame. Who sells it? Nope. Who sells it? Come on, tell me one of the, tell me Weebleed sells it. I want to find you guys one spot where you can get, both of the things that you'll need to buy here. Mob 7 V3 frame. Oh my god. Is it hard to find the Mob 7 V3 frame, or is it just me? Amazon, eBay. What on earth? Where did I even get the frame from? What's happening? Mob 7 V3 frame. Ah, Race Day Quads. Here we go. Ooh, they're sold out. Yeah, I see that Rotor Riot has it, but with what's happening with Unusual Machines, they've become sort of my last choice. So I'm trying to find somewhere else. Amazon has it. Who do you want to support? Bezos or the orange ones? Amazon has it. So it looks like either Amazon or Rotor Riot are where you're going to get the Mob 7 V3 frame. And then let's see who has BT 3.0. Well, you're not ordering from Rotor Riot because they don't have BT 3.0. I'm sure Amazon does. Really? What? Oh, FPV. Why are you like this? Power drone? Oh my god. This is brutal. Mob 7. First person in chat that can find one website that sells the Mob 7 V3 frame and a BT 3.0 battery lead gets nothing. I'll give you a shout out though. And I will thank you wholeheartedly. So yeah, you got to buy the BT 3.0 lead anyway. Yeah, I'm sure AliExpress has it. There you guys go. If you're stateside though, somebody that's in the US, see if you can find a US shop, and I will be eternally grateful. I actually need to buy a couple extra Mob 7 V3 frames, so I will be extra grateful. In the chat, Bad was first, Spaceman Spiff. Sorry for the late start, by the way. Maggie's not here this weekend, and that has made my sleep schedule even worse. And I'm getting caught up on a lot. The Christmas, man, Jesus Christ, Christmas. I was carting Azalea and her friend around yesterday, trying to get Christmas shopping done, and then doing Christmas shopping last night, and then Signing up for healthcare. Hey, speaking of, hold on. I gotta do the math. 12 times, what was it? I think it's $220 a month. Is that what it was? Well, I'll dial this in, but for right now, it's looking like $26.40. So it's looking like I think it's going to be a little bit less than that, but there we go. There's a number that's a little bit closer. Yeah. Tell me again why Obamacare is bad. Jesus Christ. There you guys go. That's what it costs to get insurance. Shitty insurance. Shitty health insurance. As working for yourself. Spaceman Spiff, Alexander Lewis Hughes, Chuck P, Douglas 6, FPV Toast, Neurone, Freelojo, Cole Powers, Frank Nicholas, Siskel FPV, Skull 901, Cole Powers, Brian Tegger, Apache Smoke, Wounded Sniper is in the house. Everybody give him a pat on the back for doing such an awesome job with the time codes. We Bleed FPV, what's up Zotek, Johnny V, Cole Powers, CB FPV, Islander FPV, Freelojo, Uriel, V Pro, Cole Powers, Timmons, Hockey Rounds, bunch of people I haven't seen in a little while. What's up, friends? Good to have you back. Cool. I don't know if you guys have just been, I almost said trolling now, lurking. Islander FPV, Anonymous, Hockey Rounds, Spaceman Spiff, V Pro, Freelojo, Everyday with Bruno, Render, Cole Powers, 661, Uriel, CB again, Crom, 70, Dave Gunna, Brian Tegger, Thrash. YouTube just did the thing. Blame YouTube if you don't get a well-deserved shout-out. If you want to talk to me in the chat, type CiottiFPV into your chat message. For me, it'll light up an orange. You can do that with each other. Spell someone's name right, and for that person, their name will light up an orange, and it'll get their attention. CiottiFPV.com is my little website where you can support me. This is a totally crowdfunded thing, super grassroots. Help people out that are trying to do cool things on the internet, making free stuff for you to watch, and they'll keep doing it. Patreon definitely helps me out the most. $3 whole a month, that's 10 cents a day. You're into FPV. It is not a cheap hobby. It's not an expensive hobby either, but I guarantee you that I will save you more than 10 cents a day if you stick around here and help me keep making good content so that you don't buy garbage. And as soon as you don't buy garbage, that'll easily cover $3 a month. So jump onto my Patreon. You'll love it. Lots of benefits. Etsy has some fun stuff that you can buy, and there's a bunch more stuff coming up that you can get for Christmas. Here's a spoiler. There's a set of full-blown DJI goggles going up on there within the next few days, hopefully. They are V1s, but, I mean, there's barely any difference between the V1s and the V2s. The old school ones, the DJI helmet. Fiverr, you can work one-on-one with me. Take advantage of over 8 years of FPV experience. I put as much info as I can into these live streams, but it's not a one-on-one session. You really learn in one-on-one sessions. $40 for a half an hour, $60 for an hour. You will certainly get your money's worth, and you will certainly figure out one or two things to not buy. And again, that'll pay for the whole damn session, if not, and then some. We can work on flight instruction, getting you flying better, tuning, teaching you how to tune and getting your rigs tuned up in the process, or build planning. I've got a whole bunch of questions that I ask you to get dialed in on the perfect build for you, and then I tell you the perfect frame, the perfect motors, the perfect battery, voltage, all the stuff. Teespring has some fun shirts and apparel. If you get stuff from Teespring, for the love of God, take pictures of it and then tag me on them in Instagram, and I will share them, and then people will go to your Instagram, and they will love you. PayPal, if you want to support me directly, but you don't want to do a super chat because you know that YouTube takes 30%, and then look at all these affiliate links. You're doing Christmas shopping, yo. For the love of God, use someone's affiliate links. It's free money. Change your bookmarks to affiliate links, or if you don't use bookmarks and when you want to go to Amazon, you just type AMA for Amazon. your existing links that pop up, you can remove them. Your existing suggestions, and then just hit a bunch of these affiliate links a few times. I mean, you might as well just go here now and just start mashing open up a new window and just start mashing these affiliate links. That'll start to convince your browser that when you type BET, you want to go to Betafpv, not somewhere else. So yeah, do it. Open up a new window and hammer a bunch of these links. Hold the command button if you're on a Mac, or God knows what button on a PC, and just open extra tabs, and just open a whole bunch of tabs with these affiliate links, and that'll convince your browser that, yeah, you want to go to these. Amazon, Get FPV, Pyro Drone, Race Day Quads, Newbie Drone, We Bleed FPV, Betafpv, FPV Cycle, Hasingi, Oh My God, Brain 3D, HD0, Flywoo, Emacs, Banggood, Camera Butter, and AliExpress. Thank you for allowing me to continue to do this. It's very fun. And I love hanging out with you guys. Cole Power says, is it Sim Sunday? It is not. We've done a couple of Sim Sundays in a row. I really want to show you guys, and I want to know for myself, what a Mob7 1S ELRS is like when you crank it up to 2S. I'm dying to know. It's probably really good. It's probably a total no-brainer. It's almost certainly a no-brainer. The 0802 20,000 kV motors that come on the Mob7 suck on 1S. If you spend $40 and get a set of like 0802 25,000s or 27,000s from tinywhoop.com, it's a lot better, but it's still nothing like these 2S rigs. So instead of spending $40 and then just putting the motors that it comes with, the really good RS 0802 Happy Model motors, in your toolbox or on a shelf somewhere to never be used again, spend like $5 on a set of BT 3.0 connectors and another $5 on a Mob7 V3 frame, you're going to have to spend another $10 with me, because you're going to have to get motor spacers. I mean, you don't technically have to, but you want to get motor spacers and M1.4x4 screws, which will be definitely going up on the Etsy store now that I've done this live stream. Shout out to Timmons for laser cutting me a bunch of these spacers. And then these are the screws that you're going to need. You're going to watch me. I'm actually going to get them out right now. You're going to watch me use these here today. I haven't used these spacers yet. I've only used the Betafpv spacers, so I want to use these to make sure that something weird doesn't happen with them. I do trust Timmons, but, you know, you never know. And so, yeah, man, that makes a lot more sense. Spend $20 instead of $40, and you'll get something that performs orders of magnitude better. Like I said earlier, more power and more runtime. Oh, you're going to have to buy batteries, though. Yeah, I mean, you would have had to buy batteries anyway for your Mob7 1S ELRS, right? It's going to come with one battery that's probably not very good. Does the Mob7 1S ELRS come with pH 2.0? If it comes with pH 2.0, then I think it does. If it comes with pH 2.0 and you don't go 2S with it, and you go to BT 2.0 1S, you're doing it all wrong. That is a ridiculous thing to do. It's only going to come with one battery, so you have to buy batteries anyway. And so I'm not going to include that in the cost, because you're going to spend maybe a dollar or two more on the TinyWhoop 2S BT 3.0 300 mAh batteries. Here's how you find those, by the way. You go to tinywhoop.com. Why can't TinyWhoop have the Mob7 frame? Ugh! They've got the V4 frame, but they don't have the V3 frame. Damn! Oh, it would be so nice if they had it, because I'm pretty sure that they have the BT 3.0 leads that you need. All right, so look, you're going to have to do a Tiny Whoop order anyway. Get the Mob7 V3 frame wherever the hell you want. Amazon has it. Rotor Riot has it. And then come on to tinywhoop.com, and you've got to get this BT 3.0 battery lead. There you go in the chat. And then you need to get the 300 mAh brilliant BT 3.0 batteries. These are amazing. And there you go. You have to do a tinywhoop.com order. And then just get the V3 frame somewhere else, and then jump onto my Etsy store. If it's not up on my Etsy store and you want to do it, just message me somewhere. CiottiFPV.com has all my contact info. Instagram is the best spot to message me. Discord is probably the next best. Email and Facebook are tied for the worst ways of getting in touch with me. I will reply, but it will take a little bit longer. Just because, yeah, it's a war zone out there, my friends. So yeah, that's the plan for today. Is everybody excited? Who are your friends? I don't remember what movie that's from. Old friend of mine who I strangely lost in the divorce, even though he's male. Me and him used to say that all the time. It's from a movie. What movie is that from? It's like a crazy guy asking the main character who his friends are. Who are your friends? He says it real creepy like. Shit, what movie is that from? I don't remember. I am going to be desoldering. So this already has the BT 3.0 on it, but it's got it soldered in the downward direction. If you choose to use the V4, the Mob7 V4 frame, and try to make it work, and try to find grommets that are tall enough to boost the AIO up high enough that the USB port won't hit the top of the battery, I think you're gonna have to do the BT 3.0 like this. You're gonna have to just send it straight down, and then it's gonna be like there. What I'm gonna do with this one is this really cool trick that somebody in our little Gangely gang here figured out, which is to run the BT 3.0 up top, and then you tuck it into this perfectly sized hole in the Mob7 V3 frame. The V4 frame does not have this amazing little hole here. This is insanely cool. It shortens up the battery leads, which saves weight. But the big thing that it does is it prevents the battery from firing out the front of the battery bay because the battery is being held back here. So this is a really good thing to do. It's good in many different ways. So do it. Apache Smoke Woods Sniper says, "Good day, CiottiFPV. How are you doing? And hello, all you Gangely gang mofos." CBFPV says, "Hey man, I don't know if you remember that RunCam hybrid I bought from you, but an analog camera on it just randomly died. Is there anything I can do about this, or do I need to buy a second?" I would shoot a message to RunCam and see if they're willing to do anything. I don't know if I have any extras. If RunCam won't do anything for you, message me and I'll check and see if I have any extras. But yeah, see if RunCam can either fix it or if they have any extras that they're willing to replace it with. Dave Gunna says, the Mob7 Walksnail comes with EX 1002 motors. What? Could just get that and sell the VTX or use something else. Oh. The Mob7 Walksnail. Well, okay, right. Sell the VTX. Yeah. Well, it depends on what the AIO is. It's probably not an X12 AIO. Since it has Walksnail, the AIO is not going to have a VTX on it. So if you got rid of the Walksnail VTX, then you would have to use an external VTX, which is kind of silly. It kind of makes more sense to, and God know, you got to look up if that AIO that it comes with is 2S compatible, right? And so, yeah, it's probably the Super X AIO, which I believe is 2S compatible. I just haven't tested it. I do have one of those AIOs that Timon sent me, that I am gonna at some point here pair up with Walksnail, but I need to get my Walksnail VTXs fixed, and so I just haven't had a chance to do it yet. But yeah, you're sort of on the right track. But yeah, you'd have to put an external analog VTX on it, which just seems kind of weird. I would just leave it Walksnail. Dave Gunna says, AliExpress has all. Thank you, dude. 661 says, if you got to order BT2, just get them from Tiny Whoop because you also buy. Yep, we got there. 661 was a couple minutes ahead of me. Sam says, here where I live, healthcare insurance is like $500 to $600 a month. Jesus, where do you live, Sam? I thought it was more in the U.S. than anywhere else on Earth. But that's typical, U.S. people thinking, we have it the worst out of anyone ever. Uriel says, I think EU AliExpress is different from US AliExpress. I wouldn't know. I've actually never ordered from AliExpress. Brian Tiger says, does anyone make battery booties for the cold weather? No. That is a funny idea, though. Just put the floor vents, if you're going out to fly, which is the only time that it's going to matter with the cold, just put your battery bag in, unzip your battery bag, and put it on the floorboard with the heat blasting on the floor setting. It won't make the batteries explode. It'll just get them a little bit warm. And then they'll be a little bit extra warm. And then so when you start flying, they'll go from like a little bit extra warm. They'll cool down a little bit. But then if you push them hard enough, they'll stay warm again. Flying in cold weather outside is always super funny because it's like you don't want to be mean to your batteries, but you have to push really hard to keep the batteries warm enough for them to fly right. So like especially towards the end of the battery, it's like, well, I got to use a bunch of throttle or else it'll get cold and then the battery voltage will just completely fall off a cliff. But then you're pushing it hard and at some point the battery voltage is going to fall off a cliff. It's super funny. LL says, I would like to build a Flyfish Volador 3.5 inch. What is better, 6S or 4S? 4S for sure. 6S only makes sense on 5-inch rigs. None of these micros, 3-inch, 3.5-inch, are pulling enough power in the drivetrain to warrant the 6S voltage. And 6S is much harder on the ESC. As an example of this, I built an 03 rig to chase cyclists, an 03 live broadcast rig to chase cyclists early this year. I ran a couple of batteries on it with 4S and it was totally fine. It was an ESC rated to 6S. Ran a couple of batteries on 4S. It was totally fine. I was getting ready to pack it up and go. I put one 6S battery through it because I wanted to try that out to see if there was any extra efficiency, even though I know that there's barely any, if any. And the ESC caught on fire on 6S. It would have been totally fine. I would have been able to use 03 at this gig. It would have been awesome. But 6S is so much voltage. And when we're talking about micros, we're using smaller, cheaper components. And overloading those components with tons of extra voltage can easily cause them to catch on fire. And so, yeah, I've tried to do the 6S thing on micros a bunch of times over the last 4 years. And in all scenarios, the ESCs have died very prematurely compared to what I'm used to from running 4S. And in none of those situations, I got significantly more efficiency. The one thing that I will say with 6S that is nice is that it no longer matters that most of the micro motors that are available are a little bit too low of a KV. But there are micro motors that are a high enough KV that 4S will make plenty of power. If you want more power than that, build a 5-inch rig. The whole point of building a 3 or 3.5 or 2.5-inch rig is that it's smaller, it's lighter, it's quieter, it's better for smaller spaces. If you want big power, 3-inch, 3.5-inch rigs is doing it wrong. It's a stupid thing to do. If you want big power, you build a 5-inch rig. The end. That is the right rig for flying big spaces, football fields, big ass parking lots, that kind of stuff. 3-inch rigs, 3.5-inch rigs, micros in general, are for flying smaller spaces. And so if you build a horrendously powerful 3-inch rig and then you try to fly it in a small space, it sucks. It's a nightmare. You're using the complete wrong tool for the job. So 4S really makes sense. It makes sure in this weird way that you don't build it to be completely overpowered and have something that doesn't make sense for the spot that you're flying. By the time that you build a 3 or 3.5-inch rig to be super overpowered, it's really noisy. And it's a really high pitch noise, which is arguably more obnoxious than a 5-inch rig. So the 6S thing on 3.5-inch and 3-inch, that's totally the hype train saying, oh, here's the new thing. You got to rebuy all your motors and your ESCs and a whole bunch of new batteries. Sucks for you. Great for us, though. We get to sell you a bunch more shit. Don't do it. Don't fall for it. 6S for 5-inch rigs. 4S for 3.5-inch, maybe even 2.5-inch rigs. 2S for 2-inch or 1.6-inch rigs. 1S for 65 mil, 1.2-inch prop rigs. Kind of makes sense, right? Like when you look at it like that, when you look at like, you know, the size of the rig and how much power it needs and how much it weighs, makes an awful lot of sense that 1.2-inch props are going to be great for 1S, 1.6-inch and 2-inch props are going to be good for 2S, 2-inch, 2.5-inch props 3S, 3-inch, 3.5-inch props 4S, 4.5 to 5-inch props 6S. You could make the argument that maybe a 4-inch rig you would build 6S. I don't really know about that. I would still do 4S. But right, why would you do, like, if 5-inch rigs needed 8S, now we could maybe make the argument that 6S would be good for like 4-inch and 3.5-inch rigs, but the 8S 5-inch rig thing, it's a meme. It's another hype train kind of deal, right? Like, we don't see it catching on because it's just not necessary. 5-inch rigs on 6S make tons of power and have tons of runtime. If you're building a 5-inch rig that's like 1,000 grams or like 900 grams, yeah, okay, maybe that warrants 8S, but what the fuck are you picking up with that rig? Why the hell is it so heavy? Fix that. There is no reason to build one of those that heavy. None of the motors have thick enough motor shafts that a build that's that heavy is going to survive any crash where the motor hits the pavement. So what are you doing? That's a terrible idea to build a 5-inch rig that heavy. That's just ridiculous. That's, again, careful of the hype train, man. The hype train needs money to support itself, and it's your money. The hype train is not there to give you something that builds good. It's there to get your money. Don't let them win. Don't let the hype train win, yo. I found in my box of stuff that I was about to sell a clear Betafpv G-string canopy and a CO3 camera. And you know what that means, don't you? You don't? Why would you? Why would you know what that means? What that means is that I'm going to put a CO3 camera onto one of these Ultimate Freestyle Tiny Whoops. That's what that means. I think what I'm gonna do is, and don't like quote me on this quite yet, but we'll see. But I think what I'm gonna do is take the 0702 32,000 kV, the rig with the Moon Travelers on it, my trans rights or I bite rig. I just made that up just now. You just did you hear it? If you listen real carefully, sometimes You can actually hear my genius. That's a Clarkson joke, for the record. That's one of the that is one of the funniest moments in all 24 or 26 seasons of proper Top Gear, proper BBC Top Gear. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pull this. Oh, it's the dog. What's that? What are you? Don't! Are you peeing? Don't pee! What are you doing? What was that? Hey, let's go pee. Come on, outside, outside. Were you about to pee? Were you about to poop? What are you doing? Just go pee-pee. Just go pee-pee. Oh, don't you not go pee. Just go pee. Go pee. What are you doing? Hold on, guys. What are you doing? I know it's raining out. You better not come back inside and then pee. What are you doing? What was that? You were digging at the carpet? What was that about? Hold on. Oh, you better not have peed, dog. Is it wet over here? What were you doing? What were you digging at? Yeah, go pee upstairs. Go pee upstairs. We don't care about that carpet. All right. There's 50% less people to let the dog out, and I'm not used to the frequency that just one of us needs to let him out. Also, Maggie lets him out more often than I do, because she's a better parent to living things than I am. But I've gotten a lot less practice at it, you know? She's been doing it for 18 years. I've been doing it for 2. Yeah, I'm going to put a CO3. I'm going to pull this down. I'm going to pull this AIO basically out of here is the only thing. Well, the AIO and the antenna. And, yeah, I'm going to swap on a CO3. I'm also thinking I'm going to swap in the screamers. But maybe not, because there's only that one propeller for right now for these. So maybe I'll wait. Maybe I'll just swap the camera and canopy over for right now. But I'm actually really excited about that, giving the CO3 a little bit more of a chance to win me over. You know what I'm saying? I also kind of want to see what the weight difference is with the CO3 when switching from Mobula 6 canopy and Runcam Nano 3. I know it's going to gain some weight, but like if it only gains 0.3, 0.4 of a gram, that's cool. If it gains a whole gram, I don't know about that. But yeah, we'll see. Cole Power says middle click scroll. Oh, that reminds me. The stream was late today because when I was making the thumbnail, Photoshop went into full screen mode. I could not figure out how to get it out. I could not figure out how to get Photoshop out of full screen. I couldn't get like on Mac, when you size something up, right, you still get your little red, yellow, greens, and the green will take it into and out of full screen. Well, so also this, right? So you don't have those. Well, you hit the top bar and it drops down like this, and now you got your green. It didn't give me that. It didn't give me the those 3 buttons, and I just sat here like a fucking deer in the headlights. I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm hitting escape. I'm going through the menus. I can't find anything. I had to fucking Google. And so I stubbornly sat here like, no, I don't have to Google this. I can figure things out. I was born in 1981, for fuck's sake. I'm the generation that can figure things out without Googling it. And so I just kept looking and I just could not fucking figure it out. I could not figure it out. I had to Google it. And then Google said, go up into the view menu, drop down, and then current view or something like that. And sure enough, it was there. So, you know, just yet another reminder. Don't remember anything. Don't memorize anything. Don't actually make your brain do any work anymore. Just type things into Google. Just relax. Don't try. Just search. Don't try. There you go. Don't try. Just search. There you go. And just trust everything that Google tells you. Cold Power says, middle click, scroll wheel click, links to open a new tab. Holy shit, I didn't know that. Wow, that's embarrassing. I totally didn't know that. I might have known that at some point, but I certainly forgot about it. Good call, Cold Powers. That's really handy. Holy shit, I'm used to holding the command. I'm used to taking this left thumb and pushing down on the command button. Here's a fact. Be honest. Type I knew that into chat if you knew this. The command button on Mac/Apple keyboards, I don't know, my dad used to call it, and I've called it for a long time, the open apple button, because it used to have a little apple on it. And the reason that we used to call it the open apple button is that in the really old days, there was a closed apple button. There were two apples on the goddamn keyboard. One of them was colored in, and the other one was opened. And so there was an open apple button, and there was a closed apple button. Type into the chat, I knew that, if you knew that. Nobody's going to type it, because why would you know that? Dave Gunna says, is it an issue running 0802 1mm shafts on 2S? A little bit. 2S is going to give you more power, so more speed, so more energy in crashes. 2S, you're also going to gain around 2 grams of weight. The weight gain is less of an issue, I think, than the just 2S makes way more power issue. I guess you could also say that 2S gives you more efficiency, so that you're going to be flying longer and you're going to be crashing more often. So yeah, I do not recommend 1mm motor shafts on anything at this point. Certainly not on 75mm rigs. Certainly not on 2S 75mm rigs. If you fly over grass, you'll be fine. But as soon as you start crashing on concrete or hardwood floors or, right, the 1mm shafts are not going to last very long. The 2S 75mm rigs are so good for flying out in front and behind your house, which is probably mostly grass. But like when you crash in the driveway, when you crash into the side of the house, when you crash into the roof, that's going to be really hard on those 1mm shafts. The Mob7 1S comes with RS 0802 motors, which have 1.5mm motor shafts. So, I mean, at this point, if you've got motors with 1mm shafts, it's time to get rid of them. So do this build and crash them and bend them up, and then it's like, well, shit, I have to get these new motors with 1.5mm shafts. My motors are blown up. I gotta do it. Sorry, significant other that already thinks I spend too much money on flying helicopters. I have to fly, right? FPV is therapy, right? You need me to go with therapy, don't you? Go to actual therapy. FPV is not therapy. FPV is fun, and it's difficult enough that it feels like therapy because you can't think about all the awful thoughts in your head while you're flying FPV. But as soon as you're done flying FPV, all of those thoughts are there waiting for you. And so go to actual talk therapy, especially if you have health insurance. If you have health insurance, you can go to talk therapy for like practically no money. And you can learn how your brain works, and you can learn why these weird thoughts pop up, and you can learn how to live a healthier, happier life. And if that's not worth just going and talking to someone for a while, I don't know what is. Just go. The worst case scenario, like, there is no worst case scenario. Just go. Go to talk therapy. Even if you don't have mental health issues, go to talk therapy. Their whole life, their job, their everything, right? They've gone to medical school. They have devoted their life to helping other human beings learn how their brain works and live better lives. Let them do that. Let them do that for you. Why wouldn't you? Go. Go to talk therapy. Seriously. Just go. And nothing bad will happen. They won't tell you you're crazy. I'll take care of that for you. You're fucking crazy. We're all fucking crazy in our own little weird ways. Go talk to somebody that's trained in making you feel less crazy. Go talk to someone that can justify your craziness. Just go. I'm dead serious. When I meet people, I can tell usually within the first couple minutes whether or not they've gone to talk therapy or not. Like, it is transformational to you as a human being in ways that you can't possibly imagine until you actually go. It is something that we are very lucky exists, and to not take advantage of it is just silly, especially if you have health insurance. If you have health insurance, it's so cheap. I spend $150 per session. I don't have that money, but I go every single month. If you can go twice a month, that's really, really good. If you can go every week, that's the jam. When things got really bad for me, I started going every week, and I did that for a long time. It was a little bit less expensive back then, but I spent a lot of money. I spent over $500 a month on talk therapy. But you know what? I'm alive right now. And I'm not being dramatic by saying that, unfortunately. It's incredibly important. If you're struggling at all, for fuck's sake, go. Please go. Even if you're not struggling, though, go. It is one of the greatest things. Look, if you ever talk to somebody that's been to talk therapy, they will never say, yeah, I went and it just ruined my life, man. I went and I talked to this guy this one time and he ruined my life. My life has been 1,000 times worse ever since I went. It cost me a $20 copay and he ruined my life. You've never heard that because nobody's ever said that, because that's never happened. The worst case scenario with talk therapy is you'll catch one or two people that weren't ready for talk therapy that'll say, like, yeah, I went and it didn't do anything for me. And if you ask them for some specifics, you'll find out that they went one time and they went to one person that was either like new or just was not the right fit for them, and or they just didn't want to be there. That somebody told them that they needed to go or they would not be friends with them anymore or leave them. And so they begrudgingly went. And go figure, you go to something that you don't want to go to and you don't have a good experience. Oh, that's weird. How could that possibly happen? Right? Like, and I guess that's a part of it. You have to be somewhat open-minded, but you guys are intelligent and you can probably guess that by now. But even if you're not open-minded, just go. You're going to learn about how your brain works. Isn't there something weird in your brain that you're like, why are you telling me that? Why are you telling me that I'm an asshole? Go figure out why. It won't take long. Seriously, go. Go to talk therapy, my friends. It's something that's available to you. And I'm telling you that you will get a lot out of it. And you will be a better person here on Earth after having gone. What else is there? Who gives a shit about how much money you have? Who gives a shit about how much stuff you have? How good of a human being are you on Earth? How happy are you? Come on. Come on, get real. Let's go through this together, my friends. This is me helping you. This is what that looks like. This is what you need to hear right now. Especially during the holidays, man. Holidays are a great time to go. Yes, I know sometimes it's hard to find somebody that's in network, but just do it. Just do it anyway. Go to the fucking HR department of your job and say, hey, this dude that I watch on YouTube, I swear to God, do this. This guy that I watch on YouTube said that talk therapy is amazing. Can you help me find somebody in network real quick? And they'll be like, oh my God, sure. That's amazing. Here are the names of 3 people. And then you call them and you say, hey, I'd like to schedule an appointment. You schedule an appointment, you go. You might not love them. Maybe that's the end of it. Don't let that be the end of it. Go find somebody else. I'm on my 7th talk therapist, I believe it is. To find somebody that you trust enough to tell all of the insane thoughts that go through your head, it takes a little bit of time. And so, yeah, as with all good things in life, you got to work for it a little bit. But I can promise you that it's worth it. All right? There's more to life than FPV. And living a happy, healthy life is the best possible thing that you can do for yourself and every single other person that you know. Your friends, your family. Ooh, will they appreciate you getting a handle on the weird shit going through your brain. All right? Do it. Seriously. Do it. There's not one person, there's not one message that I have ever gotten that has said, yo, man, I took your advice and I went to talk therapy and it just sucked. You're an asshole. But I get about at least one message a month from people that say, dude, thank you so much for talking about this shit. I finally went and it's completely changed my life. Or this is the best thing ever. Or I didn't like the person, but I'm going to a second person because you talked about that. All right? Do it. Alexander Lewis Hughes says, the weirdest thing is that my Betafpv 1102s actually sit fine without spacers on the Mob7 V3 frames I just got. With spacers, they run a bit too high up. Interesting. So, Betafpv 1102s must be a little bit taller. Thank you for saying that, dude. Betafpv has a tendency to make motors that are taller. Their 0702s are, their 0702s want to be ballers as well. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for that. I'll be damned. Yeah, the Betafpv 1102s are pretty much exactly as tall as the sub 250 0803s. Okay, so there you go. Betafpv 1102s do not need the 1mm spacers. Dude, thank you for that. All of the 1002s that I've tested, the T motors and the RCN powers, and all of the Happy Model 802s are going to need those spacers. They're compact little shorty motors. Good call, brother. Thank you for that. Islander FPV says, have you flown any of the BT 3.0 450 mAh packs? I have. Curious how 2S handles that extra weight. Not great. They are the Tiny Whoop 300 mAh packs are unusually lightweight. The 450 mAh packs are a lot heavier. It still flies way better than 1S, but holy hell, when you go down to that 300 mAh battery, it is magic. They are so nice and light. It's just the right amount of runtime. But yeah, if you want 4 minutes flight time, 4.5 minutes flight time, the 450 mAh batteries are what you want. But it's it flies significantly different. Thrash FPV says, would a carrier pigeon be better to contact you than Facebook? Probably. Bad says, love that I showed you that trick with the BT3. No, it was bad. There we go. Has saved me spilling my battery so many times. Spilling? Ejecting. That's a weird spell check. Dave Gunna says, is a Super X HD. It's a Super X. It's a Super X HD. You are right. Thank you, dude. VPro says, but YouTube did the thing. Scrolling back up. Sorry to get all mental healthy on you guys. I just happened to have YouTube Studio opened, and like 20 people since I started going on that rant have left, but that's okay. There's more to life than FPV, and if one of the people that still remains actually goes and gets talk therapy, then this stream was well worth it. Like, I want to bring good FPV content and all, but I also want to bring just positivity and like more happiness to the world. That is so much more important than having a bigger audience, having more money, having anything like that. If I can leave a positive mark on this earth, that's a little bit more than just flying helicopters, then yeah, I will go out on with a big smile on my face. So it's all good. VPro says, by the way, X12 allows you to easily disable the internal VTX. Is it a jumper? I never actually bothered to look it up. Tag me again. Let me know how you do it. Usually there'll be two pads next to each other with a solder bridge between them, and then you just break that solder bridge. Sometimes there'll be a little capacitor that you have to break off. How do you do it, VPro? VPro also says, you should not avoid AliExpress at all costs. Since I got into FPV, I made like 50 orders there and never had a single problem. Same with stuff from other hobbies. Yeah, I don't let the fact that I've never ordered from AliExpress affect you guys in any way. When I first got into the hobby, I bought everything from Banggood. And then once US resellers started selling the good stuff, I just stopped ordering from overseas. And I just never ordered from overseas again because I can always find what I need on GetFPV, Pyrodrone, Race Day Quads, whatever. So me not ordering on AliExpress is totally American privilege. LL with a $9.99 super chat. He says, thanks for your help. You're certainly welcome, brother. Thank you for supporting me and allowing me to help you. Render says, my Oh My God Grinderino with their 1605 3800 kV still has crazy high-pitched whistle, and it's above 300 grams, and it still just goes, LOL. Yeah, 1605 is a big old motor that'll make a lot of power. 1604, 1605, 1804, those motors make mega power. Those are bordering on being too much power, but they're small and light enough, and they have good the where they make power in the throttle throw is about right, so you can fly them in smaller spots. But they're about as big as I'll go for a micro. Any bigger, and you just go to 5-inch rigs. Frosty says, nothing turns a girl on more than a properly executed handbrake turn. That's another great Top Gear quote. I feel for MYG says, what canopy are you using for the 2S Walksnail build? I use the Mob7, the Mob 6 old school canopy for damn near everything. It's very lightweight. It's very strong. It's got adjustable up tilt, which is really nice, and it just works. And so with the Walksnail, you have to take a file and you have to open the front of the canopy up a little bit because the lens is bigger, but that'll take you 10 minutes sitting on your couch watching your favorite TV show. So it's no big deal. Uriel says, a dog speaks no Americana, only German, and Germans shout over nothing, so you make no impression. What? Uriel also says, last week I had my keyboard on French. Wow, I called coach. What? I called coach? Timmons says, thoughts on 45mm 2S. You'll get, well, there's no frames for it. There's no 45mm propellered frames that'll take 2S. So I don't know how you would mount the 2S battery, but if you did manage to do it, you're going to get a little bit better runtime and a little bit more power. Neither one of those things, in my opinion, you really need. Regular old 75mm rigs with this 2S setup, it's all the power, all the runtime that you need. And it's a little bit lighter too. The 45mm thing, you're going to gain weight because it's a bigger frame, bigger propeller. And so, yeah, these 75 rigs, I'm just completely happy with. I have no reason to do anything different. No reason to go bigger or smaller. It seems to be just right. Look, a bunch of you guys knew open and closed Apple. You fucking nerds. Thrash says, was it the Apple II? Could have been. boy. I grew up around Apple IIGSs, a lot of Apple IIGSs, all of the Apples though. My dad has been a hardcore Apple person forever, from like day one. I was very young back then. I don't necessarily remember the specific ones, but I do remember Apple IIGSs, and I very specifically remember the Woz edition. Apple IIGSs. It was Wozniak's signature on the case. There was something different about the computer, but yeah, I don't specifically remember at what point there was the open and closed key on the keyboard. I was a little too young. Alexander Los Hughes says, "Remember when Mac OS changed to OS X? I was pissed. A lot of the shortcuts no longer worked." Yeah, I also remember when Apple changed over to Mac. Talk about outrage. My favorite part about that is that on the Apple campus, the Mac team was in a separate building, and the Apple team, I have it in the garage. The Apple team put a big ass pirate flag on the front of their building, with an Apple logo in one of the eyes on the pirate flag, and so I've had this pirate flag forever, like a small pirate flag. In my life forever, that I put a little Apple sticker on the one eye to pirate Apple flag. I'm sure Google will show it. There you go. Yeah, pirate flag with the apple in the eye. I think they draped it over the front of the building. That might just be in the in one of the documentaries. But yeah, there was a big divide between the Apple team and the Mac team, which I think is just hysterical. What a time to be alive. I wish I was a little bit older back then. That would have been cool to be, yeah, a little bit more conscious back then. Dave Gunna says, FPV is therapy t-shirts incoming. Yeah. If there's a t-shirt surrounding that, it'll be FPV is fun. It'll be something like FPV is not therapy, therapy is therapy. Because it's a little bit dangerous to say that FPV is therapy, because that means, because what's going to happen from that is that people who actually need therapy are not going to go get talk therapy. They're just going to fly more FPV. And it's not enough. It's not enough. Yeah, everybody should go to talk therapy, point blank. If you think you need it, you should really fucking go. Flying more FPV is not nearly enough. It's better than nothing, I guess. Might not be better than nothing. 100. What's the story behind the YouTube name 100 Balls? I gotta know. Tag me. 100 Balls says, "Hey, Ciotti, finally caught your stream from Australia." For the love of God, tell me what 100 balls means. Built a 2S Walksnail build with Super X HD flight controller having some jello problems. What do you recommend trying? First thing you want to try is to get it off of probably the Gemfan 1610 propellers that you have it on at the moment. Get some of the new HQ 1.6 inch ultralight 1.5 millimeter motor hole propellers. Try that first before anything else. tinywhoop.com and I believe WeBleed both sell those propellers. Put those on first. Also, huge voltage sag running 2 300 mAh tattoo options other than BT 3.0. Well, okay, so you should never, I mean, with any functioning rig, you should never have huge battery sag. That is typically a sign, when coupled with jello problems, that you've got vibrations going on, and then the vibrations are confusing the PID loop. What if the quad vibrates hard enough, the PID loop will try to correct those vibrations. So like your motors are out of balance, or your propellers are out of balance, or your propellers are bent, or your motor shaft is bent, or you've got screws loose in the build, and there's a physical vibration. If the physical vibration is big enough, the PID loop will try to fix it. And so when the physical vibration shakes one way, the PID loop will fire up these two motors to try to push it back and fix that vibration. Well, it's a physical vibration. It's not going to stop. So now it's going to vibrate the other way. And then it's going to push on the other side. And then it's going to push and it's going to push. And so the PID loop is going to be sending full power to the motors on either side to try to fix that vibration. And that's what's going to cause the voltage sag. Because it's speeding up one side motors and breaking the other side down. Then speeding up, right? And so it's sending all of this power back and forth. Versus the way that a rig should run is that it just accelerates the motors to just keep you flying. It's not going full, right? And so the mechanical system is always where you look first. And the easiest way to do it is outside in. Propellers first, motors second, arms and frame third. And so the first thing you want to do is put a fresh, if you have a fresh set of propellers, put those on. Thing number one. Thing number two, buy a set of the HQ propellers. They are better balanced than the Gemfan propellers. I've been learning over the last couple of weeks. Next, while you're waiting for those new propellers, spin the motors up in either the motors tab or in turtle mode as slow as you can. Spin the motors very slowly while you're holding the quad and feel if there's one corner that vibrates more than another. That corner either has a bad prop or a bad motor. Swap them out. Check for loose screws, check for a broken frame, and then finally check that your AIO is properly soft mounted. We put these rubber grommets on the corners of the flight controllers and the AIOs because they have very sensitive gyros on them. And you want the AIO to float. The motors and the props are always going to vibrate, but you don't want your gyro to vibrate with them. So you need those rubber grommets to isolate that flight controller from all of the vibrations that are happening. So if your AIO is mounted in a way where you've got like a wire that's sandwiched against the AIO, it's not going to be able to float anymore. So look for that. Look for something that's pushing against the AIO, effectively hard mounting it. You need your AIO to be soft mounted. That could be the battery. Certain frames, certain setups, certain rubber grommets will drop the AIO too low and the USB port will stick down into the battery bay. And then when you put a battery in there, the battery pushes against the USB port and now you've hard mounted your AIO, right? It's not floating anymore. It's pushed up against the battery. You got to make sure that your AIO is free floating. You can have things like lightly pushing against the frame, like with the Happy Model AIOs, they've got some of them have a camera plug, and the wires from the camera plug can sometimes push lightly against the frame. But what you'll notice is you can still push on the AIO and it'll still move a little bit. What you're looking for is like, the other thing that can happen is like a motor plug can be pushed up against the frame. And in that case, like when you go to push the AIO, nothing happens. It's hard mounted. You can't have it hard mounted. So there's a whole bunch of things for you to check. Dave Gunna says, what's the ideal height position of the props in reference to the frame? You want if this is your duct or prop guard, you want the propeller to be as centered as possible. You don't want it to be too high. You don't want it to be too low. On the Mob7 V4 frame, a lot of times the propeller sits a little bit too high. Nothing you can really do about that. On the V3, the Mob7 V3 frame, typically the propeller sits a little bit low. That's why I've got these spacers and longer screws now to boost it up a little bit. Too low you can fix, too high you can't really fix without going to a motor that's shorter. Daniel 1964 says, there's been a car alarm going off for now an hour and a half, 2 hours. Luckily, it's down the street enough where it's not super loud. You guys probably can't even hear it. Daniel 1964 says, the concealing, I pray, helps me and others. Concealing? That said, my question with the Betafpv U connector, the 180-degree one, have you had issues with them getting so loose it disconnects? I have not, but I have heard about this with BT 2.0, that eventually with enough connects and disconnects, that can happen. The problem is actually not the connector, though, because the connector is pins. The battery, so the connector is sort of the male, right? The battery is the female. The battery is it's two sets of little jibby jabbies like this, and eventually they'll separate a little bit. You can go in there with a pin, and you can push them in. Take your 5X loop that you better have and take a look at it, and you'll see that it's two little half circles, and so they're just doing this, and so you can go in there and push them closed. By that, if you've cycled a battery, one of these little batteries that many times, it's probably pretty shot. So maybe just throw it out and get a new set of batteries and you'll be fine. But yeah, it's typically not the connector. Uriel says, I think you're right. Some personal moments to share is okay. As many as you can. Be as open of a book as you possibly can in life. If you go too far, most people are not open enough. And so if you go too far, you'll end up settling in the middle. And people will let you know if you're oversharing. But yeah, be as much of an open book as you can. People that can't handle it, a lot of times those are not the best people to have in your life. The people that can handle it, those are your real friends. Those are the people that are really there for you. And those are the people that you want to surround yourself with. The people that you can talk to about the hard shit. If you talk to somebody, if you've got a friend that you talk to about mental health shit, and they can't handle it, maybe it's because they're going through their own shit, but maybe they just don't value enough as a friend and it's just not worth it. And that's, in my opinion, not necessarily somebody that you want to invest a whole lot of time in. If you're super open about shit, you'll find some amazing people in your life, and they will become better friends with you because you showing that vulnerability to them will mean a lot to them. And you will end up with a circle of friends that are better, right? And you'll be able to talk about this shit, and you'll live a happier, healthier life from it. It's important. It's hard to do, especially as men, right? Especially as men in our generation. Growing up in the 80s and 90s, we were told almost unequivocally to just stuff it all down. All those shitty thoughts, all those weird questions, all those weird things, just fucking bury them because you're a man, yo. And men are insensitive, angry, fucking warmongering lunatics. Says who? How's that working for you? Not so great. VPro says, yes, it's a jumper. What's a jumper? What were we talking about, VPro? You guys got to give me more. You guys can't possibly expect me to remember anything from 5 minutes ago. I can't even find the previous comment. Oh, yeah. Okay, about the X12. Yep. It's a jumper. Cool. So it's two pads next to each other with a solder bridge. You just got to break that solder bridge. Every Day with Bruno says, came for the FPV, stayed for the genuine good human being. Thank you, dude. I joke about like people leaving the streams when I talk about non-FPV stuff. It doesn't bother me at all. I'm not in this. I don't care about how many subscribers I have. I also kind of don't necessarily care about how much money I make. As long as I make enough money to survive, I'm happy. I care about people and people living better lives and surrounding myself with awesome other human beings. And so when people leave, when I go on these rants about this stuff, they're not my people. And like, that's okay. And you got to be careful because like sometimes those people are going through some shit and they're just getting triggered by this and they just can't handle it. And that's okay. But here's the thing. Those are the people that need to stick around the most. And so like this shit's hard, man. Like it's super hard to put these boundaries up and to protect yourself from this stuff so that you don't get triggered. But sometimes you have to get triggered. And sometimes it's exactly what you need. And so, yeah, but most people are leaving because they're just like, I'm here for FPV. If you're not going to talk about FPV, what's this mental health shit? I don't, you fucking liberal. Nah. And sorry, but like, I want the people that want to live better lives and want to make, one of the most important things with all of this is that it makes the people around you's lives better. It makes your friends and your family and maybe your children's lives significantly better. Because there is nothing worse than an angry, screaming guy. I can't explain to you how scary that is for children and women. And talk therapy is one of the most effective ways to figure that shit out, because we got some anger issues, my male friends. Our generation was taught that men are angry, aggressive alpha males. It's good to be alpha male. Are you, like, stop being apes? Jesus Christ, we have evolved beyond apes. Stop it. It's no longer cool. It's not cool anymore, yo. It's not cool to be the scary dude to women and children. I promise you that. The people that will be in your life are not who you want. Don't. Jesus. Masculinity finally is progressing a little bit and changing. Thank Christ. Good Lord. Daniel 1964 says, don't ever apologize for mental health advice. You never know how many people are helped with the encouragement. Thank you. People are very kind about letting me know that. Typically in private messages. Those of you that say it publicly here on the stream are super strong. And I love that. But the messages that I get, like I said earlier, like at least one a month, people sharing their personal stories. Yeah, I know. And that's why I continue to do it. It's not good for my business, but fuck my business. When you're on your deathbed, what does your business matter? What matters is the positivity that you brought in the world, right? That's a life well lived. So that's how I choose to live my life. Uriel says, I have a mental coach for when I really go, whoa, woo-ha. Yeah, hey, that's a really good point, too. It doesn't necessarily have to be a talk therapist. There are counselors that are wonderful. Healthy Gamer GG, they've chosen not to go down the road of like trying to employ a bunch of talk therapists, because that brings like a bunch of shit into the mix. They have coaches, like sort of like life coaches, but they just call them coaches. They're pretty much talk therapists. They're going off of Dr. K's lead, and he is an amazing talk therapist. So yeah, life coaches in general, they're extremely helpful. Talk to somebody. Not talking ain't the way. Dave Gunna says, I have Walksnail X, and I'm thinking of getting a second pair of analog goggles. What would you recommend? I want something that will last me many, many years. Fat Shark, old school Fat Sharks, dude. They're just like, I've had this set of, yeah, this is my original set. I've had this set of HD3s since they came out, which I think is 5, maybe 6 years now, and they've never skipped a beat. So Fat Shark HD3s, you can probably get them used pretty cheap. They're the most comfortable goggles I've ever worn. They're super lightweight, and they just work. There's the HDOs if you want to spend a little bit more money. There's the HDO2s if you want to spend a little bit more money. But man, these HD3s are awesome. The only thing that sucks about the Fat Shark goggles is the DVR. it works sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. When it does work, it doesn't look great. These new Sky Zone goggles have much better DVR in them. I don't know anything about the Sky Zone goggles, though. I've never had a set. I've never really cared to look into them. The HD Zero goggles have the absolute best DVR, but boy, are they expensive. And so, yeah, if you just want analog goggles and you don't care about your DVR, because why would you? Man, an old set of Fat Sharks used for like $150, $200 with a module, you can't go wrong there. And then if you ever decide to go a different direction, you'll sell them for what you paid for them. Dog, what's your deal, you fuzzy little monster? Is this you telling me that you have to go pee again? Can you actually go pee this time? Pee. I know it's raining out. Just go pee real quick. Right there. Yeah, right there. Teddy, go pee. Please go pee. I know pee is the word that you know. Yes, thank you, you little monster, you. All right, now back inside. Come on, it's wet. It's disgusting out. God, it's freezing cold out and raining. It's the ugliest day ever. All right, good. Now I don't have to worry about him peeing on the floor. I knew he had to pee. I could tell. I could feel. That's weird. Anonymous says, any thoughts on the drones in New Jersey? None whatsoever. Initially, I thought it was analog. Amazon just started doing their drone delivery stuff, so I was like, oh, it's them. It's pretty clearly not them. I mean, it's not. There's nothing we can do about it. I'm super worried that it could be the end of us being able to fly outside. But boy, are tiny whoops fun. So, if it's the end of flying 5-inch rigs outside, that sucks. For sure that sucks. But tiny whoops are fun, man. And we can now do all the things inside that we do outside. So, could be worse. And let's be real. It's the writing has been on the wall since a few hundred of us drove up to Washington, D.C. and marched outside of the FAA. That was the one big thing with that whole situation. It was just like, yeah, we're going to all do this, but all we're doing is giving ourselves a little bit more time. It's inevitable that the government says, look, these things are too dangerous, and we're doing this for the greater good. We are a tiny little group of people, and yeah, sucks, but we had a good run. Dave Gunna says FPV therapy, talk therapy, repeat. That's pretty good, actually. Alexander Lewis Hughes says the best was when Apple II had the Disc of Death logo with the Mac Startup logo, black with the X's in the eyes. Yeah, there was all kinds of little Easter eggs back in those days that were super cool. That's a good one, dude. Moss1 says dope shirt. Thank you, man. Who gets this reference? What movie is it from? This is not a super hard reference. I love this reference, though. I love this series of movies. FL Engineer says, any recommendations on where to stock up on grommets? Oh, that's a great question, dude. Here's a little FPV secret. Almost every single website that sells FPV stuff, if you dig deep enough, will have a different thickness or durometer or color grommet. And so from now on, whenever you buy FPV stuff, search before you check out, hit my affiliate link, and then search for grommet. Oh, he's eating a leaf. Search their store for grommet. Search their store for bucking, BUCKING, and then search for buckling, which I think is a bad translation. BUCKLING. Also search for. You're bringing me the leaf now, Teddy? Okay. You don't have to do that anymore, buddy. You can move out of the way and let me put this leaf in the garbage can. Thank you. Don't take it out of there. He's going to take it out of there. Yeah. And then just buy them all. They're going to be like $2 and just buy all of the rubber grommets. Also search for rubber. Whatever. Buy them all. And then you'll have a collection of grommets. Teddy, stop. Teddy, stop. Teddy. Teddy. Leave it. Oh, it's soaked in your disgusting spit now. Ugh. Buy them all. It'll cost you like $8 total, and you'll have a bunch of different rubber grommets, and then boy is it nice to have like one of every. And then you have different colors, and you can really just be insane. 100 Balls says, thanks for the info. The name comes from Halo 3, so when I struck someone with a sticky nade, it says 100 balls stuck to you. 10 out of 10. Uriel says, let them leave, dude. Love you. I do. And I will continue to. Jackalope FPV with a $25 super chat. Dude, thank you so much. And he put a bunch of Christmassy emojis in there. Thank you, brother. Very cool of you. Shankin Whoop. I need the story on that one now, too. Shankin Whoop with a $10 super chat. He says, thank you, CiottiFPV. You're certainly welcome, man. Thank you. Cole Power says, they say Neanderthals went extinct. I'm not so sure. I'm sure that that's not the truth. Uriel says, only two things scare me, though. Rear of horse and... Uriel types some shit that makes no sense whatsoever, but I always read it because of things like this. Timon said... Did you get another? No, I thought he got another leaf. It's his toy. Timon says, I'm working on the 7... Oh... I'm working on the I don't think I've talked about this on the stream, so Timmons spilled the beans on this one. I wasn't necessarily keeping it a secret, but I sent Tim. I noticed something a while ago, and I forgot to say anything about it. And then I sent Timmons this image a while back. Not a while back. It was like a week ago. I sent him this image, and the caption was, yo, on the front of the Mob7 V4 frame, there's this little hole that M2 screws fit through. And then even these fat boy cameras kind of sit flush. And this man understood the assignment. Thank you, dude. Timmons created the 65mm batwing mount. And so he says, I'm working on the 75mm batwing while I watch the stream. Can you give me a close-up look at the back of the light camera? The Walksnail light? The Walksnail light is very similar in dimensions to that camera that I sent you the picture of, other than the fact that it's got the MIPI cable hanging out of it. Come on, you bastard. Focus! There you go. Man, that fucking car alarm's still going off, homie. There you go. I know it's kind of obscured by the mount, by the Mob 6 mount, but yeah, there's the back of it. I don't have one outside of a canopy. Shoot me a message though, and I'll get you what you need. Thank you again, Jackalope and Shankin Whoop. Porky Chop FPV says, what the heck is LCD sleep in my goggles view? Yeah, I updated my Walksnail goggles and I was like, what the hell is that? It just shuts the screens off. Analogs. Oh wow, Analog Skyzone goggles have it. Screen goes black, but will come back on eventually. Can't figure this out. Any ideas? Yeah, it's got to be just to save the screens. Just power down the screens, right? But let the goggles run. Because like, you know, the goggles now, when you turn them off and on, they take a minute to boot up. So it just, I'm assuming it just shuts the LCD screens off, but it runs the rest of the electronics so that if you need to have the goggles come right back on immediately, they'll come back. They won't have to reboot. Uriel says that feature would be amazing in DJI goggles when I fly the live broadcast rigs in between batteries. It would be so nice to be able to just power the screens down, change the battery, and then just kick that thing back on. I lose like 30 seconds per battery waiting for the screens to boot back up, the goggles to boot back up and reconnect to DJI when I power the goggles down. I usually just leave the goggles powered up, but it's yeah, that's a nice little feature. Uriel says, can you use newer goggles as movie or game wear? What the hell does that mean? Like as VR goggles? I doubt it. Although, yeah, I doubt it. James Thomas says, FPV PSA, I ordered the Konohan 5-piece loop set from Amazon, and the lenses are plastic, not glass. One step above useless, just saying. I gotta find a good loop set on Amazon that has not plastic lenses. That sucks. Send them back, yo. Cole Powers got it. Toy Story. Brian Tegger says, just finished a 75mm 2S build with 23,000 kV 1102s. Getting a bit of runaway suggestions. More motor limiting. Motor limit the shit out of them. See if that helps. And then outside in. Propellers, motors, build. Propellers, motors, broken frame, loose screws, soft mounting on the AIO. Outside in. Bad says, thank you for all the amazing advice. One thing I've always wondered, what is the greatest sandwich? Maybe a tuna melt? Nah, grilled cheese. I can't even eat tuna melts anymore. Tuna is one of the things that makes my stomach rage. A really good grilled cheese, maybe. With a bowl of tomato soup. There was a place right next to Maggie's old rental house. Remember me flying around that place? That had the most outrageous grilled cheese and tomato soup. And they changed owners and they don't have it anymore, which is sad. It's a little bit farther away from us now. We haven't been back since, but that made me sad. I miss tuna melt. I miss. Yeah, tuna melts were my shit forever. BLTs are good as well. A good BLT with like way too much mayo. I'm gonna stay there. Nice and simple. There's too many sandwiches to be able to pick just one. Timon says, sorry, I'm about 85% there to be able to print prototypes. No, don't apologize. It's all good. I didn't not mention it like for some dramatic fucking thing. I don't really do that. I should do that because that's what the good YouTubers do. Let's dive into this 0802 Bing Bong. Because I gotta know, man. I gotta know. Is 802 enough? I have a couple of batteries that are charged. I have like 2.5 charged batteries. I'm gonna put the half charged battery. It's not half charged. It's fully charged, but it's been sitting for 2 days. And they magically lose voltage when you do that. Voltage just it just gets sucked up by the ether of the universe, apparently. So I'm going to put this battery back on this silly little charger that I use for these BT 3.0s. Wait a second. Did that not just not charge these batteries? Don't you even tell me. 7.56 volts. That's not enough volts. What the hell? Why is it not? Oh, is it set to storage charge? No, it's just not. Oh no, don't tell me that this thing is not charging batteries anymore. I use this stupid little Emax charger that has balance leads. No, it's not working anymore. No, I had a good run. All right, hold on. Well, I've got most of one battery charged. I'm going to prioritize this one battery that is charged most of the way. Everyday Bruno correctly says all the best sandwiches are grilled. Yeah, for sure. I'm a huge fan of Quiznos because you can get like everything toasted. All right, so we're going to have at least this one battery for sure. It is at 8.37 volts. No, I can't believe this thing is not charging anymore. That makes me very, very, very sad. It's one of these stupid little things, but it was nice because I had the BT 3.0 to balance lead adapters. I'm gonna try this though. I'm gonna hook this up to a different power source. Let's see if maybe. Oh man, this dog is desperate to play, man. He's just like chasing me around and shit. Maybe this will work. It's worth a shot. I'm gonna leave this plugged in. We'll see what happens. Maybe it charges them a little bit. This little thing definitely works though. This is a BT 3.0 Betafpv checker, but it's also a charger. I might need to get a proper BT 3.0 charger. This might be the time. Okay, here we go. Diving in, putting this together real quick. I lied. I'm gonna leave the no. Wow, what time is it? It's 4:45. All right, no, I'll do the thing. I'm gonna redo the battery leads, and I'm gonna flat solder them and run it nice and short. Let's get it. Hold on, move this the hell out of the way. And so these are the longer motor screws that I got from eBay that are going to be available on my Etsy store. Hope I got the right ones. They look awful big. Hold on. I might have gotten the wrong screws. Please be the right screws. Hold up. I have a sneaking suspicion that what I actually need are M1.2. These are too big. I do not have the screws. God damn it. These are too big. Why did I think that it was M1.4? It's obviously not. Or did they not send me M1.4? Yeah, this is obviously not the. Farts. And I've been telling you guys the wrong thing. I've been telling you guys M1.4 by 4. This is either they sent me an M1.6 or we don't need M1.4. We need M1.2. The screw on the right is the correct screw for tiny whoop motors, but it's not long enough. The screw on the left is what I got from eBay. What I ordered is M1.4 by 4. So, yeah. I can't do this build. God damn it. Because I think I ran out of the longer screws. Let me check. Oh. Really? What the hell? No, I think I think I might have enough. Hold on. God damn it. All right, so can somebody do this? Can somebody 100% confirm what regular tiny whoop motor screws are? Are they M1.2 or are they M1.4? Who can absolutely 100% confirm that on the internet? I would also love to know, get a confirmation on their length. I'm pretty sure that they're that the ultra short newbie drone screws are 2 millimeters long, and then the regular motor screws are 3 millimeters long, and then when we add this 1 millimeter spacer, we need 4 millimeters long. I should have enough of these screws to get to do this build, though. There's 1 motor's worth. Why does that look so long? That's what she said. Here's 2 motors worth. Come on, tell me I have enough. Come on. Here comes motor number 3. Oh, nope, that one's too short. Come on, buddy. Where are you at? Oh, there we go. There's 3 motors worth. That one's too short. That's in the wrong bin. God, these look really long. 1, 2. Come on, one more. Give me 1 more. Yes! Okay. We're safe. I think... Damn. How could I have... I'm super annoyed that I've been telling you guys to buy M1.4 by 4. Bad says M1.4 by 4 is what I use on my 2S 75mm. Got a bunch for the local hardware store. Okay, yeah, I thought so. I thought we fucking confirmed this. So that means that this company sent me M1.6 by 4, which is maddening. Ugh. All right, well. Although, wait, they don't. This one looks a little bit smaller. What is going on here? Hold up. You know, this is obviously too big. Right? Yeah, this is obviously too big. Yeah. When I put them next to each other, it's there's no mistaking that. Oh, fart. This sucks. Well, all right. I don't have the screws for you on Etsy, my friends. Sorry. I didn't think to check them. I just assumed that if I ordered the right size, that they would send me the size that I ordered. Anybody need any M1.6 screws? Loose motor screw. There we go. Brian Tegger is all set now. Wow. Okay. This is absolutely maddening. I still have the spacers, though. Here's the little packet of screws that I got. Am I just... let's see. Yeah, no, they're all that same size. They're all that bigger size. They must be M1.6. That sucks. Okay. Well. Jeffrey Long says no calipers. No, I do have calipers, but... no, yeah, everybody is confirming it's 1.4. Okay, so at least I've been telling you guys the right thing. I just got the wrong ones. If anybody needs M1.6 screws for any reason, let me know. I got a whole bag of them. I got 100 of them. Okay, back to it. That car alarm's still going off. Man, I cannot imagine. That's one of the things, like, people living in cities deal with that all the time. I would wait for the person that it is and just cut the shit. Like, imagine that. Like, you're in a city and a car alarm goes off for like 2 days. How do you not just annihilate that person's face? You know? That's self-control right there. Not mercy killing the person whose car alarm's been going off for 48 hours. Also, not hunting down the engineers that did not build something into car alarms that makes them turn off after, oh, I don't know, an hour? That is pure evil right there. All right, so we're going to put this HDLRC Spectre AIO, which I don't necessarily recommend that you buy. I think the X12 is a better choice, into the Omni Fixo. Move things around here a little bit. And then we are going to solder this power lead up a little bit differently for much better performance. Every Day with Bruno says a lot of people moving out here say that the noise is why they moved. Uriel says put some barbecue starters next to the front tire. What's that? What's that gonna do? Glasses repair. Oh, look at that. Dave Gunna says glasses repair screw sets have tons of 1.4 and 1.2 screws in different lengths. You get about 500 for $5 to $10. That is a nice little hack right there. Very cool. All right, blue is on the left. Somebody type into the chat, blue is on the left, please. There's one. Here's the other. And so now we got to get this measured right. We're going to run this really, really, really short. So we actually have to take it out of here and put it in the frame to get it measured perfectly. This is a little bit annoying, if I'm honest, the way that you have to kind of measure this out, but it's totally worth it. Where did those... There they are. Okay, so you're going to put it in the frame. You're going to put the AIO loosely onto the posts here. Doesn't need to be all the way down there. All right. And then you're going to put the little battery connector into this little rear part of the frame that it sits like perfectly. And then just hold the wires up to see to the pads and cut them the right length. And you're going to flat solder them onto the pads, which I don't love doing, but it'll be fine. And so just get it test fit like this, hold the wire in place, and then just come in here with your little clutters and chop it. And I always give it just the tiny little bit extra. And you really only need to just leave a little mark. You don't need to cut all the way through. And then do the other one. Just look at where the pad is and then leave a mark. Cool. And now you've got two little marks on the wire. You can come in and cut it the rest of the way through. And now your battery lead is the perfect length. And you cut like a significant amount off. Like the regular way of doing it is like that. That's going to weigh like probably 0.2 of a gram, which is not nothing. In the 2S world where we've got all this power, it's not much, but it's still not nothing. I cut the blue one a little too long. Just take a tiny little bit off. By getting it the exact right length, it just cleans up the packaging. There's a lot going on in the back here, and so if these are too long, it's just going to be super annoying. It's a little bit safer to make them too long because then you can maybe reuse this BT 3.0 connector, but like these are not expensive. You'll be okay buying another set. Support Betafpv. Cut your BT 3.0 leads too short and then buy more. And when you buy these BT 3.0 leads, you get like 4 of them, and you probably won't build 4 BT 3.0 rigs, so you'll have some extras. But yeah, cutting them short, oh, it's nice. Cutting it the exact right length is nice, is what I should say. And that's what I mean. All right, so now you're going to pull. Just remove the smallest amount of silicone that you possibly can. And with your fingernail, just pull the silicone back a little bit. Just so that when you put heat into it, all of a sudden the silicone doesn't like become a lot shorter. Bundle the wires up together, and we're going to tin them. Tinning is adding a bunch of solder to the exposed wires so that you don't have to add solder when you're connecting the actual wires to the board. And so to tin the wires, you're just going to put the soldering iron on one side of the wire, and you're going to try to push solder from the other side. You're trying to push solder in between the strands of wire. And it looks like that, nice and quick. It helps to have a little bit of solder on the tip of the iron to start. I usually do this with magnification so I can actually see what the hell I'm doing. I'm being lazy right now and not doing that. And it shows. This is taking me forever. There's my 5 o'clock alarm. It's telling me to be careful with shame. Oh, God. Hold on. Azalea messaged me. Let me make sure there's no emergencies upstairs. No, okay. Oh, good, Azalea. She's, I've been bugging her to figure out what she wants to get Maggie for Christmas, and she finally got back to me. All right, so these wires are now tinned. There is a bunch of solder in between. This is a good time to check. Okay, I did not do a good job with the one. I got to redo the second one that I was kind of struggling with, and I am going to put the nerd goggles on for that so I can actually see what the hell I'm doing. I cannot stress enough how important it is to have these to have a magnified set of goggles for working on tiny whoop stuff. It really, like, the quality of your work completely changes when you can see what you're doing. It's so important. All right, that is actually now tinned, and so now we're gonna pull the flight controller AIO out of the frame. Having it in the frame just makes it more difficult to get the job done. So take it out of the frame, and we're gonna put it back into the OmniFixo. And there we go. Move the work to us, never us to the work. So the soldering iron is going to come in here, and then I'm going to hold this roughly like that. All right, so that's looking good. And then, oh shit. I had the length right, and then I cut it shorter, and I cut it too short. Damn it. Don't be like me. Trust your first cuts that you make. Shit balls. Okay, that's a big fat fail. Hold on. Let me see if I can kind of bodge this a little bit. Damn. That was stupid. Okay. I'm going to cut the other one a little bit shorter, and hopefully I've got just enough length to make this work, because I did cut them a little bit long. To be honest, I think I'm screwed here. I think I'm going to have to grab another BT 3.0, but let me just real quick try to salvage this before I bail. All right, re-strip this wire and re-strip tin it. Come on. Come on. All right. Let's just get this over here real fast, like, and where'd that little tiny bit of solder that I've got left go? There it is. I've still got the nerd goggles on. All right, there's that. And let's take this out and let's just give this a quick shot. I'm just gonna solder this on, and then I'll plop it in the frame and see if it's probably gonna be like a millimeter too short, but I'll at least give it a quick try. The ground pad is always gonna be a little bit more challenging because it's connected to the ground plane, which is gonna act as a big heat sink. So just be patient. And there we go with that. And then the first one I like to do by hand. The second one, usually I'll do it with tweezers. And I'm just flat soldering these to these pads, which I don't love doing. I really prefer to use the through holes, but sometimes, usually, I mean, this is okay. It's not a big deal. Just want to push this in a little bit. There we go. All right, so that's also like the maximum amount of length that I can create on these wires, in the way that I have them soldered up to the pads. To give you guys a little bit of a closer look, here you go. That's what this looks like. There you go. So they're going straight back. I know you'll see in a second why I did that, if you don't already know, which you probably do. And so let's see. It's either going to be just perfect or exactly not quite long enough. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Amazing. This is why you always cut things ever so slightly too long. Because then if you have to go back, you've got a little bit of wiggle room. And you can always deal with like a tiny little bit of extra cable, you know? It won't look quite as pretty as cutting it absolutely perfect, but like if you ever have to come in and rework it, or if you make a little bit of a mistake like that, you're going to be totally fine. Ooh! Ooh! Brothers! Cut you some shit just the right length. Tell me that's not satisfying as shit. Look at it sitting in there. And we've still got a tiny little bit of extra wire here so that we're not like hard mounting the AIO, right? But yeah, look at that. And then so it just sticks right through there. And look, we got a little bit of wiggle. That's how we know we got a little bit of extra cable. Ooh, buddy. Oh. Yeah. God damn. I was, oh, here's, I'll sound like a young person. I was low-key upset that I was going to have to go back and do it again. Hey. Speaking of brain rot, the 14-year-old in the house has let me know that the new thing to say is huzz. Huzz means like somebody you're interested in, male or female. I feel like it's maybe like a shortened version of husband, but it's HUZZ. So if you have young people in your life, sneak the word huzz in. Ask them how if they have like a crush or something like that. Ask them how their huzz is doing, or just say it, right? We don't really care about these words. We're just saying them to mess with with the young people. So yeah, you say huzz, and they'll be horrified, as they are when we use their vernacular. Use the word vernacular too. That'll be twice as cringy. I'm telling you, do it. It's worth it. It's one of my favorite things. Oh, why do we do this? Why is torturing people so much fun? It's not torture at all, though. It's just as far as I'm concerned, it's trying to show them how silly it is to use all of these dumb words. Can I get an amen? I don't know. I'm sure we did it when we were kids, but you know, we probably caught shit for it too. So if I had to be in misery, so do you. Speak English, young people. Stop making words up. There are plenty of words already. Use the ones that we already have. Just moving these wires a little bit out of the way to make sure that they don't get pinched under the canopy. Which is one of the things that you kind of want to pay attention to, right? When we talk about like making sure that your AIO is soft mounted, like look at how your wires are exiting for the camera. Make sure that they're not going to get pinched under the canopy. That's not good. Right? I'm also using extra long screws on these builds for extra strength. I just have a bunch of longer screws that work from hoarding screws over the last 8 years. These are like, I don't know, what are these, machinist screws that have the sharp points on them? Maybe not. They're like similar to like self-tappers, basically. These are the screws that Happy Model uses on their Mobula 6 canopies, but these are just longer versions of them. And that way you've got more screw going down through those plastic posts in the frame, and that's going to be much stronger. Ideally, I actually really like to use screws that go all the way down through the plastic post and poke down through the base, because then you're not relying on the strength of the plastic post at all. The tip of the screw is going all the way down into the plastic base, and there's no way in hell you're going to break that off. So yeah, save your screws, man. When you buy FPV stuff, or when you buy anything that comes with tiny little screws, hoard them bitches. They might be the perfect thing for X or Y or Z build in the future. And you'll be super happy that that you were a hoarder. Let me get this ELRS antenna situated a little bit better, and then we'll bolt some motors down and get them spinning in the right direction and see what this thing flies like. All right, one of these batteries is done, so I've got one battery good to go for sure. Let me take one of these other batteries off of here, see if it charged it at all. I don't think it did. 8.69, is that? What's 8.69 divided by 2? 4.3. Oh, it did! Ooh, nice! My little backup battery bank charged the battery for me. That's a plus. So that means that the USB hub on my computer has either the hub that I run under my monitor. I actually have 3 USB hubs hooked up to this computer. But the one under my monitor is either dead or dying, or I've just got too much USB shit plugged in. All right, just got that antenna. I like to try to get the video antenna and the ELRS antenna a little bit away from one another. It doesn't make that big of a difference, but it's just one of those little things that can't hurt to to pay a little bit of attention to. All right, so now Mob7 V3 frame. We're gonna shoot these M1 4x4 screws through here, put the spacer on top, and then start bolting motors down. Come on. Get in there. Oh my God, really? Why is that motor hole so small? Just use the tip of the Phillips head screwdriver to kind of open it up a little bit. And then get it started. And that was weird. I don't know why that was like that. Grok says, do you tested Gemfan 35mm S biblade? Not yet. I will, but it's not going to be good. It's not going to do anything better than... It's not what you want. 60 regular 65mm rigs are the best for in the house. They're the lightest. You get enough runtime. It's what you want. 75mm rigs are what you want from outside. Going in between those two, it's not going to do anything better. It's not going to be good enough outside. It's not going to be good enough inside. Like I said, I will absolutely test it at some point, but it is very low priority because the Meteor 65S frame, which is the only frame that works with those 35mm props, it's not that great of a frame. It's not terrible, but it's not as good of a frame as the Cockroach 65 V3 or the Light AF or the Happy Model Mobula 6 2024 frame or the Meteor 65 Air frame, right? So you're forcing yourself to run the 5th or 6th best frame. Well, so now you've got bigger, heavier propellers. Well, so now you can't run 702s. Now you got to run like 603s or 802s. And so now you've added even more weight. And it's just this situation of like, it doesn't fix any issues. It's kind of like the fractal frames. Like they don't fix any problems. It's just different for the sake of being different. And it's actually worse. It's worse performance for the sake of being different. I guess you could maybe make the argument that like if you could only possibly have one tiny whoop for both inside and outside, it's a better mix. But I don't buy it. Tiny whoops are pretty cheap, right? You can get these bind and flies nowadays for $100. So for $200, you can have a 75 and a 65, and the 65 will be better inside, and the 75 will be better outside. So yeah, it's low priority. I do have the props. I have the tri-blades and the bi-blades. I'm sure that they'll perform a little bit better, but it's heavier. I don't really love that frame all that much. And so, yeah. Hate to shoot something down before I've even tested it, but just like, I have tested it. And like, yes, these propellers will almost certainly be better than the previous generation, but that wasn't the main problem. The main problem is that 31mm props are the way to go for indoors. 1.6 inch 40mm props are the way to go for outdoors. If Newbie Drone made a Cockroach V3 frame for the 35mm props, then maybe, but still, we're not in a situation where we need more propeller diameter inside the house. And we're not in a situation outside the house where we need less propeller width, diameter rather. And so, yeah, it's all All aboard the hype train. Give us more of your money for the new thing that requires a different frame and propeller and... Right? It's a perfect example of the old hype train coming through, stopping at our station and demanding more of our money. And I'm not down with that. But I'll try it, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's absolutely magical, but I've been testing this stuff for so long that like I can see the writing on the wall with it. All right. 2 motors are mounted up. Uriel says, and mark your shit what it is. CMYK is in the house. He says, yo, using an old F4 flight controller, anything I need to avoid in Betaflight setup for space/settings to work best? Nope, F4 is still fine. Moving forward, it's going to get harder and harder to use F4 stuff, but at the moment, it's still totally fine. You'll be good. That's just me like opening up these screw holes a little bit. For some reason, they're like small. Man, it is hard to get these screws started. There we go. Hey, there we go. Even stuff like this, even stuff like what I'm doing right now, wearing your magnified headset actually makes it a lot easier. Oh god, I almost forgot the spacer. These spacers are perfect that Timmons laser cut out. They fit absolutely perfect. They snap right out of there. Thank you, dude. Very, very good shite. Now I just got to find somebody that'll actually send me M1.4x4 screws. I'm tempted to like return these that they sent me, but it's been a couple of weeks and eBay returns are not. Hey, speaking of eBay, I did a whole bunch of Christmas shopping last night, and since I'm really trying hard to get off the Amazon teat, I did the majority of my Christmas shopping on eBay. I looked at Amazon wish lists for people, and then I searched for those items on eBay, and almost every single one of those items was available on eBay for the exact same amount of money, in some cases less than Amazon. Maggie's got a bunch of books. God, I hope she's not watching. I'm sure she's not, but she's got a bunch of books on her Amazon wish list. I got every single, not all of them, but each one of those books that I got on eBay was like half as much. They're used, but like, who gives a rat's ass? When you read a book, it becomes used, so why not have it be used right off the bat? You can buy them in like very good used condition, and they're as if you took the book and opened it once, which, you know what you do with a book is you open it. So for books especially, eBay for the fucking win. But like other stuff too, man, like clothes and like all kinds of stuff. eBay, man. You want to talk about like supporting local business? eBay, bro. And there's a cool thing on eBay where you can sort by nearest to you, which is really cool because then you're cutting down on petroleum use as well, right? Less driving of items across the country. So yeah, support your local businesses. Like, try to drive places and shop. But a lot of times when people want very specific stuff, that's super difficult. Although I will say that like most places can order what you need. So like if you do it, I don't know, more than a week before Christmas, you can have your local businesses order the stuff. And that's really the way to go, right? Like, you want to talk about supporting local business, that's it. You go there and you say, yo, this is specifically, either you settle for something that's not absolutely exactly right, or if you want the exact right thing, usually they can order it for you. And it'll come on a truck that they already have coming with other stuff. So it's really helping with gas use. And then, yeah, you're supporting local spots. And then they can stay opened and not close, right? Like, if you're going to bitch about local businesses closing, you better get your ass to the existing local businesses and spend your money there, because otherwise, you know what you are? And I'm guilty of doing this myself. You are a hypocrite. And so, shop local, or else you can't say shit when those local stores either get taken over by big stores or just full-blown close, right? Like, we've gone from like, oh, it sucks that my local businesses are getting taken over by these big box stores, to even those big box stores are starting to close, right? So it's tough. I hate it. I hate to see it. I watched it happen when I lived in Charleston on King Street, and it was heartbreaking. I watched really cool local shops get taken over. Okay, and so so this is the main reason that I say not to use the HDLRC Spectre AIO, is that they've put the motor plugs into a slightly different position because they're idiots, and they hit on the frame a little bit. And so I'm just going to keep going for right now. But yeah, I need to go in here and clearance that bottom part of the frame there, which is super annoying, and I've already had to do it a couple of times, and to be honest, I just kind of forgot about that with this frame. With this AIO, rather. So this won't fly quite as good as it should. There's a chance that it'll just fly away as soon as I arm it and the PID loop becomes active. I doubt it, but we'll see. So yeah, just go with the X12. Happy Model puts the motor plugs into the same position that everybody else puts them. Everybody with any intelligence puts them, I should say. And so you won't have to do any of this bullshit. Thanks a lot, Happy Model. You anus. Oh, I'm sorry, HDLRC. You anuses. Don't just look at what everybody else is doing. Just like, oh, we'll put the motor plugs over there. Just put them there. Who cares? Make them by our frames. I don't know if that's actually what they did, or I don't know. Is it ignorance, or is it on purpose? Polly Shortcuts says, what about trying out that Newbie Drone 82 Cockroach Whoop frame? I upgraded Acroby 75 HD. I love it, but 804 still. I've heard that 82 millimeter Cockroach frame rattles and vibrates and is like kind of a pain in the ass. They sent me a couple of them, and when I heard that they vibrate and rattle and shit, I decided not. Oh God, excuse me, that tasted like sadness. I decided not to use them. I'm also not on the 2S train quite yet. Boy, that was rough. Rough with a capital R. Come on, Betaflight, you slow-ass bastard. Come on, man. Work. All right, I've got power to the board. Let's get these motors spinning in the right direction. And fly this inside the house like a complete maniac. Motor 1 is backwards. Let's see if it reverses. It does not. I'm going to have to do it in ESC configurator. So motor 1 is wrong. 2 is wrong. 3 is wrong. 4 is wrong. They're all wrong. Okay. Boy, do I wish that feature still worked in Betaflight. But this is not too bad. It's really not too bad to come in here and do this old school style. But man, it was nice when that worked in Betaflight. Let me make sure that I have motor limiting set here. These are 19,000 kV 0802s. So you're going to want a little bit more motor limiting with the 20,000 kV motors that the Mob7 ELRS 1S comes with. But it's not that big of a deal. Okay, I'm just going to assume that the motor limiting is fine because Betaflight's being a big fat piece of asshole. Here we go! 2S 802s inside the house. These 2S builds give such amazing response time that it's actually easier for me to fly these inside the house than the 1S 75s. Which is absolutely ridiculous and feels so wrong, but it's true. It's absolutely true. I do not recommend you fly any of these 75s in the house, though. They are heavy enough that, like, you're going to break stuff. And you're going to break stuff that, like, is not yours. And then the people that you live with are going to stab you. Here we go! This is almost identical to what a Mob7 1S ELRS will fly like if you convert it to BT 3.0. We're going to go straight upstairs. Where's my OSD? Oh, God. Don't kill me. There's my OSD. All right, I don't know what the motor limiting is at. We'll check it in a minute. Let me make sure that there's no human beings up here. Yeah, big power. Every time I do this, I'm absolutely blown away at how flyable these are in the house. It's because the response time is just immediate. And like that super quick response time gives you more time to make corrections. Let's take a look at what the motor limiting is set at. We can also take a look at what RPM it's turning. This is on Gemfan, so 50,000 RPM. This is on Gemfan 1610s. I'm really looking forward to my Tiny Whoop order getting here with the new HQ props. So let's go into miscellaneous PP and then go up to go to the bottom. And then let's take a look at what the motor output limit is. Nope, I didn't do that right. I'm going to go down to go... is it not in here? I thought motor output limiting was in here. Oh, there it is. So it's at 85%. It's got plenty of power. It does not feel as good as the 1002s. And I think if I started to fly this outside, if it wasn't pouring with rain... Ooh! If it wasn't raining outside, I'll bet I would definitely be able to tell that the 1002s are a little bit better. A little bit gruntier. But this is fine. Oh, God. Oh, that was a really hard hit. Holy shnikes. It's hard to test this in the house because this is not what it's meant for. It's meant for flying outside. But I have flown these a bunch inside the house. And I can tell you that this doesn't feel as good as the 1002s, but it feels 1,000 times better than 1S on a 75. And so this is pretty goddamn good. This is, yeah, if you've got a Mob7 1S ELRS, you should 100% convert it to BT 3.0. This is a blast to fly. The 1S 75s are like annoying to fly in the house. The response time is just not where it needs to be. It's just not the way. This is the way. Look at the runtime we're getting. 2 minutes and 40, and we're still sitting at like 3.68 volts. Let's go back upstairs. I think this is getting better. I mean, it would make sense, right? These motors are making less power, and they're lighter. This is getting better runtime than the 1002s. So if you want the runtime king of a 2S75, 802s might be a really good choice. I'm actually really looking forward to getting this in the air outside. And I've still got some space on the motor limiting, right? I'm only limiting 85%. So if I wanted more power, I could just keep cranking that motor limiting up. Oh, that Christmas tree dive. Let's do it again. See if I can get a little closer. I got farther away. Oh, that was a good one. It's sketchy. 3 minutes and 42 seconds. Holy shit. Oh, God, no. Crumph. Wow. 2S doesn't have enough power to turtle mode. It must be in a shoe. Yeah, dude. Do it, friends. Do this. It's in a shoe. This is amazing. This is actually about the right amount of power for in the house. I might, if I was going to seriously fly this more in the house, I might turn it down a little bit. But this is a somewhat realistic amount of power for flying in the house. I see somebody in chat said like Team HDLRC. Fair play. This HDLRC Spectre AIO works. There's no arguing that. It's a little bit more annoying than the X12, but it absolutely works, and that is great. So thank you, HDLRC, for making. I think this might be the first HDLRC product that I've ever run that's worked. And so yeah, having two options for AIOs for these builds is better than one, no matter how you slice it. So this is great. Look at that runtime. Yeah, the 802s are the runtime kings for sure. These are Tiny Whoop Hex 802 19,000s. They're made by Happy Model. And like 19,000, I think I threw a prop. I'm pretty sure I threw a prop. 19,000 kV is close enough to 20,000 kV that it kind of makes no difference. Let's see what's going on. Yep, threw a propeller. Nope. Uh-oh. Hold on. I might have to take that back about HDLRC. Wait, no, the motor is... The left front motor... What are you doing that for? What? It's like weirdly bound up. Why? How is it? It's a hair? Is it a hair thing? I've never had that happen. Wow, it was a hair thing. That's the first time that I have had a... I still got more runtime on it. That's the first time I've had a hair physically stop one of these motors from spinning. Oh, nope, never mind. Look at that runtime, yo! Fucking 5 minutes! I mean, I was just flying in the house, and I wasn't flying it super hard, but still, that's outrageous runtime. More power and more runtime, guys, than 1S 75. Why are you not doing that? Because you already have a bunch of the 451S batteries. Okay, I get it. But get rid of them. This is, I really, I can't stress enough how amazing 2S 75mm rigs are. The fact that these batteries exist from Tiny Whoop is a miracle. BT 3.0 is awesome. This is the way. This is the way. Unquestionably. This is so good. Don't fly these in the house. It hits hard. You'll break something. But that's not what this is for. This is for warehouse flying. This is for jungle gym bashing. This is for your front yard, your backyard. And this is the best flight experience I've ever had in the front and back of the house. I've flown big power 3-inch rigs, which are, don't get me wrong, they're fun, but they're too much and they're noisy, and so like your neighbors could get pissed. I've flown toothpicks. I've flown 1S, 2S, all kinds of shit. This is so much fun. This is one of Azalea's hairs because it's purple. That's why this is a 14-year-old's hair. That's why it's strong enough to clog one of these motors up and physically stop it from spinning. Although I just pushed right through it. It was fine. Yeah, this is rad. Let me weigh it. So these are the Tiny Whoop Hex motors, which are the same as the Happy Model EX motors, which are a tiny little bit heavier than the RS Happy Model motors that come on the 1S ELRS Mobula 7. This guy is 24.56 grams dry. Let me go to my own Patreon and look up the picture that I put last week with what this weighed with the 0803 motors. With the 0803 motors, it weighed 26.21 grams. So we are down almost 2 full grams. And if we compare that to the 1002 rig, so with the 802s, we're 24.6. 1002s, we are 26.84. So yeah, the 802s drop 2 to 3 grams. And that's not nothing, right? Like all up weight. Let's do the, can somebody do the percentage for me? I gotta shut this shit down. As quick as you can, somebody do the percentage. The 802 rig all up is 39.6 grams. The 1002 rig all up is 41.92 grams. What's the difference? What's the percentage change there? What's the percentage lighter that it is? That's really what matters. Because then we can relate that to 5-inch rigs, and that gives us a much better idea. It's so hard to look at like a 2 gram difference and be like, how is that possibly gonna matter? It's all about the percentage. It's 5.8%. Thank you, Bad. So it's a 6% weight loss. So that's 6 grams for every 100 grams. So at 600 grams, 6, 12, 18, 24, 36. That's like dropping 36 grams off of a lightweight. So that is the difference between flying a Session 5 and a GoPro Hero 10, 11, 12, whatever. That's real. That is a difference that you will absolutely feel on a 5-inch rig. I have done that before, and I've absolutely felt that difference. So I am super excited for it to stop raining, because that should mean that I can feel a difference in the weight between these two, and that's pretty cool. Very, very cool. All right. Stop raining, world, and sun, come back out so I can fly these outside. This is even more flyable inside the house than this. But still, don't fly these inside the house. You'll break things that people you live with don't want you to break, and then they'll punch you. Rightfully so. Don't fly these in the house. Thanks for hanging, friends. I did run this battery a little bit farther down than I would have wanted to. It's only bouncing back up to 3.6 volts, 3.62, 3.67. So that 5-minute runtime was inflated a little bit, but that's flying inside the house. You're going to fly these outside the house, and you're going to get a little bit less runtime. You're going to get like 3 minutes of runtime. It's perfect. Especially for the performance and the weight. It's just so good. Moss1 says, I just hate that with 2S you have to check props to make sure they're not slipping. What do you mean, slipping on the motor shaft? I've not had that problem. Shank and Whoop says, I just built my first 2S today with JHE MCU AIO. Happy Model 1002 20,000s at 28 grams. Is that light or heavy? I just did all his weight, so you should know by now. Alexander Lewis Hughes says, if you want to run any battery heavier than that 300, I don't think 802s, I agree, are a good choice on 2S, at least for my testing. I agree 100%. You should run these 300s because they're perfect. But if you go up to the 450, absolutely do the 1002s. Don't do the 802s. Great Scott says, did you try the 465 mAh on Walksnail 65? I did. It gave me a little bit over a minute of extra runtime. I did it on the last live stream if you want to take a look. We did the weights. Good to go. Thanks for hanging. I almost threw up again. Thanks for hanging, friends. CiottiFPV.com. Support me. I'll keep doing this. Let's build this, continue to build this community together. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell people that are interested in FPV to check out your Gangely buddy, and we'll keep it going. I love you. Bye. I'm not ready. Here's some more flying from somewhere, sometime. What did I play at the beginning of the stream? Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot to talk about this. This is me flying to music. I'm going to, I was not doing it just now, but I'm going to mess around with flying to music, which is interesting because it forces you to make even less corrections, and it's a different flight style. You'll see it. It's what I played at the beginning of the stream. I'll play you another one right now. At the moment, it's causing an awful lot of crashes because I'm having to adjust to this different pacing. But yeah, that's what you were watching at the beginning of the stream. Like putting a song on and flying to that song. We'll see. We won't see. I'll continue to do it. This is me just like flying around the other night. Not on the stream, nothing. Love you, bye! Why is that not playing music? Hold on. It's because it's turned all the way down. Love you, bye!
Yeah.